All right. How's everyone doing? This is Black Star. So today, this little beauty showed up on my doorstep. This is the Pocket Operator PO-128 Mega Man. It is the second in the Capcom series, and it completes the Capcom series. The first being the PO-133 Street Fighter, which I did an unboxing and demo. You can find that right here. I also, with the PO-133, did a sort of sampling tutorial. You can find that here. And I probably won't do a second sort of tutorial with the Mega Man. The reason I did the one with the PO-133 is sampling is kind of a different beast, and especially when you take into consideration the other POs. The 33 and the 133 are the only two that allow sampling, so I felt that a second video was sort of warranted for that one specifically. Your Mega Man is fairly straightforward, in line with the other synth Pocket Operator models. This is sort of a rebranded PO-28 factory. The primary or only difference being that the 128 has 3-track recording, and the 28, like the 16, only has single-track recording. So let's pop in our batteries and take this for a spin. There we go. So it's asking me to set the time. So you put your batteries in like any other PO, and it wants you to set the time. I'll do that later. When you're done, using the left encoder for the hour and the right for the minute, you can press any button to take you to the main screen. As always, holding down BPM is going to allow you to adjust your volume up to 16 levels. So let's crank that up. Pressing BPM once will switch between, oh, it should. There it goes. It will switch between your standard BPM presets of hip hop at 80 BPM, disco at 120, and techno at 140. Of course, holding down the BPM and using the left encoder and the right encoder, you can adjust that to any BPM you wish, up to 240. Selecting your pattern button will let you pick from one of 16 banks with which to store a pattern. It defaults to 1. Let's go ahead and see what Teenage Engineering has in store for us in bank 1. Very nice. Let's go through the banks and give you an idea of the presets. Teenage Engineering typically fills up each bank with a preset just to give you a feel for what kind of melodies you can make with the sounds provided. And you can sequence them. And you can sequence them in any order, which allows you to chain together several patterns, essentially making a complete song if you wish. All right. So that gives you an idea of what patterns are in there. Generally, I go through and erase all the patterns anyway, because obviously I didn't write it I'm not going to pass it off as something I've written. I think it's really cool. I like going through them just because it gives you an idea of what sounds you can make with it. But like I said, generally I just wipe them out, and it leaves free banks for me to go through and create my own sounds. Speaking of sounds, if we hold down the sound button, this will give you an idea of which ones are currently enabled. So right now we are on bank 9. If I hold down the sound, it's telling me what 3 sounds are in that track. So if I go sound and hit 2 and then hold down record, or write, sorry. So I went to the second one that is stored in this track, and then if I turn on the right button, and you'll see that this recording icon is now displayed, it will tell me which beats that is playing on. And I can see, I think it's still cycling through the different patterns here. There we go. So now I can see which beat's that on. I can alter that if I wish. Again, it's not my song, so I would normally just wipe it out, but it'll give you an idea. So let's go with sound number 1. Oh, that's nice. It has that tremolo at the end. So the left encoder on any sound is going to basically adjust your a little bit of a modulation. So it's kind of adding a little noise into it. The right encoder is controlling your resonance, or your cutoff. So if you want a longer note, you're going to crank the right encoder all the way up, and you'll see this bar fill. If you want shorter notes, you'll turn it to the left. If you want a cleaner sort of sine wave there, and then if you want something a little dirtier, you can go there. So the sound engine sort of reminds me of my factory. I think this will probably end up replacing my factory, because while I love the factory does only have a single track recording. There's a lot of times where I would like to create more dynamic tracks, and I'm just not able to do so with the single track on the factory. I've kept the factory. I love the factory. I think the factory has great effects options, and we'll go over the effects in a minute. I appreciate the effects options even over the 33 and the 133, which I think, while the sampler and parameters are very powerful in the 33 and 133, the effects options are pretty lackluster, which when you're dealing with the limited parameters of a pocket operator, the effects are really a big deal. So this may end up replacing my factory, like I said, because I have those extra steps, and it allows you to play chromatic instead of, like, say, the arcade, where each button is just the sound effect, and you have to fine tune it using the encoders, which can be a pain in the ass, especially if you're trying to just jam out. It can be a little annoying trying to set the notes by holding the button and then moving them around. So I really like the free play option of this. If you have write enabled, or you're playing this, it's going to quantize these. So if you hit a note out of sync with the beat, it's not going to register, and it's not going to record that note. Keep that in mind. If you have play turned off, you can play whatever you want when you want. And so in some of my other videos, I'll do like a little pocket operator solo, again, usually on the PO-16 factory. And I'm doing that by turning play off. So my tonic, which is generally on the left, is playing the beat. The arcade is doing some chorus stuff and ambient stuff on the right. And then I turn play off on the PO-116, and I do a little, melody, just a little free melody. So that's how you do that. If you have play enabled, it's going to quantize everything, and you're only going to be able to register during the specific beats. So moving on, let's just go through the sounds. So that's sound 1. That sounds... 1 and 2 are quite similar. Interesting. Let's go to 3. That was the glide button. One of the unique features on the Mega Man is the glide button. So on most pocket operators, this button right here is reserved for a specific function to that pocket operator. In this case, it's the glide. So what it's doing is it's sort of a portamento. So you're sliding into that fine, instead of just playing the note flat, it's sliding into it. You'll notice on the PCB here, it says high and low. These 8 notes up here, when holding down glide and pressing them, are going to portamento up to the note. So it's starting lower and going up. These are going to start up and go down. So that's pretty cool. I like that, especially as I mentioned before, I like doing little improv sort of solos during my PO jams, and the glide will definitely give me a little more dynamic control over what those solos are going to sound like. So, sorry. So this is a mod, like a modulation for sure. So the left one is really punching whatever effect is making this sound unique. The left encoder is really pushing that. All right, I'm digging it. Oops. That's a really impressive sort of reverb on there. Yeah, this might be my favorite. Sorry, I'm not used to playing these out of cases as much, so forgive my fingers if they're stumbling a little bit. My table feels especially slidey today, but anyway, that should help. Yeah, that's really, I'm incredible, because this is just, I mean, normally I have this, and I should have brought a speaker up. Normally I have this plugged into a speaker. Sometimes that has reverb, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes I have it going through something, but to get this sort of reverb out of just the little speaker in the pocket operator, that's pretty cool. Kudos to Teenage Engineering, that's pretty dope. So I think we're on 4, right? 5. There you go. Nice little bass. So all of them seem to have that kind of modulation at the end, which I dig. I mean, that's super cool. That's really characteristic of that sort of 8-bit era onboard synth. So definitely feeling that. There we go. And a little reverb. That's cool. That's really neat. Okay, that's interesting. That's not... The glide on that isn't... Yeah, the glide doesn't really... That's interesting. Yeah, so these are just the top are the high octave range, the bottom are the low octave range. It's just weird that the bottom ones don't. So I guess these are just more percussive. If you hold, I'll move to the... Yeah, these are all just sort of percussive. Interesting. Moving on. And this is 16 is your drum kit. What I actually like about this drum kit is it's not the same sound chromatic, it's slightly different sounds. Now granted, it's not like your 133, it's not like the tonic, you're not getting a full, really robust drum kit here, but you are getting a fairly diverse, a sort of diverse selection of sounds in the drum kit. It's not just basically that sound at different pitches and stuff. So, and again, you can adjust the length and sort of the amount of noise in there. So we'll move back up. Look, this one again. So if I there's that automatic vibrato at the end. If I hold glide and turn the knobs, this is controlling that vibrato. So now it's not as pronounced. So I'm holding glide. Now it says if I hold glide, press any key, and then if I'm, yeah. And then I release the note while holding glide, it's supposed to activate a falling chromatic scale effect. Which I'm not getting that. So maybe I'm doing something wrong. If I am, go ahead and let me know in the comments. So we have pattern, let's do pattern 16. Pattern 16 selected. I'm going to hold glide and hit pattern. And that has now cleared the pattern. So if you want to clear a pattern, select the pattern you want to clear. Hold the glide button. Every pocket operator, it's always whatever this button is and pattern, that's going to clear your pattern. So now there's nothing in that pattern. If I want to copy a pattern, so if I want to copy 15 to 16 because maybe I like 15, I want to extend that pattern with some different things, it's easy to make a copy of that and then edit it. And then those patterns, you have patterns that are, you're going to go together and you're going to edit it slightly so you can have kind of a longer chain with some different effects. So I'm going to have 15 selected. I'm going to hold right pattern 16. And now I've copied 15 to 16. So you can see they're exactly the same. So that's just a quick way to copy your patterns. Maybe you want to move a pattern that you like further down, so you can leave the first banks open, whatever your workflow is. Or like I said, if you want to copy a pattern so you can make some changes to it as you're building your song out, you can do that too. But we're going to erase that. So now it's empty. I'm going to select a song or a sound. There's two ways I can enter notes. I can press right, which will give me the record symbol up there, and I can dump those wherever. Once those are down, I can hold it down and use the left encoder to change the key that note is in. What I tend to do, so I think it's a little faster when you have a chromatic scale, is I will play the note I want. I'll hit right. I'll turn right off. I'll play the next note I want. Turn it off. Whatever the last note you played before you hit right will be the note at right. So a little shortcut if you don't want to fine tune. I don't like fine tuning. I don't feel like the encoders are conducive to fine tuning. So generally what I do is just that. I'll turn right off, hit a note, hit right, do. Next note, do. Like whatever I need to do. If I'm doing it that way, if you're not confident in your ability to keep the beat, or you just want to make sure every note is exactly where you want it, that's a good way to do it. Just like a DAW or whatever you're plugging in along the 16-step beat. You can also, if you have play going, you can free play by holding right. And it'll record whatever you're doing. The disadvantage of that is you can see what happened is I wasn't on beat because I didn't know what the beat was really. So I think you can turn on a metronome. Or generally what you would do if you're going to record free play is you would select a drum track and you would just quantize that. So like the first step of, you know, each bar, and then switch back here. If you free play and you want to erase what you free played or edit it, if you turn play off and go into write, it'll tell you where any of your notes are, and you can just turn those off as such. Anyway, still not doing great, but that's how you would do live play and record into that. And again, you can go in and edit whatever you want, add, subtract, and as it's playing, you can add. You don't have to squeeze it all in the 16. It'll still be the 16, but you can add a note and wait for it to come back around again and add another note in free play. So just whatever you're playing, it's going to stack on top of each other as you go. So that's really the basic operation of how to record into it, your options of recording into it. Again, you can do 3 tracks. So that is any 3 here. I don't think it is 2 tracks and just a drum. I think you can do any 3 tracks. So let's check out the effects. What is it? We'll start with 1. That's whatever that's doing. That's very subtle. And it might be like a low pass filter or something. Let's see if we can. Yeah, it looks like it's some sort of cut filter. It should actually tell me. Okay, so that is distorted filter. Second is distorted sweep. So there you're doing like a volume duck with the distortion. So that's repeat 4. This is repeat 2. So I think this is repeating 4 steps. This is repeating 2 steps. 5 is a low pass slow sweep. All right. 6 is going to be a low pass fast sweep. 7 is a high pass filter. 8 is a high pass sweep. 9 is a fill in. 10 is a fill in fast. Okay. 11 is a retrigger. 12 is a retrigger fast. 13 is a glitch. 14 is a glitch, fast, really, guys. 15 is blinds. That's decent. And 16 is nothing. So those are your effects. Here, you want to see, there is the sounds, the effects listed that that come with it. I'm a little disappointed in the effects, honestly. I'm a little not terribly thrilled with that. I don't know if this is going to replace my PO-16 or not. I feel like, you know, PO-16 had some chords, which I understand are the glide, was the glide control analog on the PO-16. But I feel kind of like the PO-133, right? So a lot of these, it's like you have two effects for every effect. Like, do I need a fill-in and a fill-in fast? Could you just pick the one, just pick one? Like, it doesn't really just pick one. Same with retrigger fast. Like, I feel like that sort of on the tonic sometimes, and on the 133, we're really sticking to that retrigger sort of pony. Like, everything is either some form of like a stutter or a retrigger or a glitch or some other thing that's sort of synonymous with that retrigger stutter effect. And yeah, that's a great effect to have. It can absolutely break up your beat and what you're trying to do and add some more intrigue to what you're playing, for sure. But I don't need like fucking 5 of them on my pocket operator when you've only given me 15 different effects. So not thrilled with that. Overall, I like it. Okay, so I like it. I do. Is it $89? Do I $89 like it, right? So the original 28 factory was the 40, sort of the series 1 $49 price point. And I understand that it didn't have 3-track recording, it only had 1. But basically, my understanding is everything else is virtually the same. It's been tweaked a little bit to give you that Mega Man sound. But did anyone else notice that when they first announced the Capcom series, that the Street Fighter 133 was listed at $89 and the Mega Man was listed at $49 or maybe $59, and then the price mysteriously disappeared and there was no mention of it again until weeks later when they were kind of pushing for this, and now all of a sudden it was up to the $89. I get that with the 133 because it has that sampler in it. It has an internal microphone. You can transfer your presets and your patches. There's more functionality there. It's technically, because it's a clone of the 33, part of the Metal series. All the Metal series were just a little bit more than the previous series of pocket operators, which sort of, more or less, depending on who you ask, justified the bump up in price tag. This, you know, I don't know. I don't know that I feel, especially the effects are a little lackluster. The glide doesn't really feel like it works like it should on the low end, and the chromatic sort of fall off I couldn't get to work. Again, if I'm doing something wrong, feel free to let me know in the comments, for sure, because I want to get the right information out there. But I mean, even on the back, and this, it doesn't really matter, but on like the Metal series, there's enough functionality where they have written on the back of the PCB a bunch of different shortcuts and how to do things. On here, it's just a picture, albeit a cool little picture, or etched Mega Man. Like, that's neat, but clearly it doesn't have as much functionality as the metal series that share its price point. So beyond that, it's your pretty standard pocket operator. Does what most of them do. It's going to sort of fall in that slot of your PO-16 factory, or your PO-16 factory, your 28, I can't think of, is it machine, 28 machine, where it's that lead synth sort of niche, and it does that well. It definitely competes with them. Again, I still think the factory probably has more interesting and varied effects, which when you're dealing with a limited synth / step sequencer like a pocket operator, every single effects option goes a long way and helps you push anything you make on this just a little bit further. And I feel like they dropped the ball with the effects on the Mega Man for sure. So I hope you found this interesting. I hope that you found this helpful, especially if you're looking into getting one or not, weighing your options. I hope I helped you out. Feel free to, if I missed anything, if I got anything wrong, by all means, put a comment down below. Let me know. I definitely want to make sure we're getting the right information out there. So thank you for watching. Thanks for your support. If you like what I'm doing, if you like what you're seeing, please hit that like button and give me a subscribe. And I appreciate you. I hope you have a good day, and we'll talk to you soon.